should vapes be prescription only? So get your calls in. 0207 862 2222 is the number. For the first time ever, there are now more people vaping than smoking. To compare, 5.4 million adults use vapes daily or occasionally. This is compared to 4.9 million people using cigarettes, so that balance has just been tipped. And now 1 in 8 16 to 24-year-olds vape. While vaping does not carry as many risks as smoking, the long-term effects of vaping is still fairly unknown. Some experts have said that vapes should only be used when helping smokers quit. In Australia, you need a prescription from a doctor to get a vape from a licensed pharmacy. So we're asking, should we do the same really? Should vaping be prescribed for people who are trying to quit smoking? Anju?
I think so, yes. I think, there's been this notion with vaping that it's the less harmful alternative to traditional cigarettes, and it helps those to kind of reduce their nicotine intake, reduce their journey as a smoker, to wean them off. Unfortunately, we have seen such an uptick in youth use of vaping. To add to those statistics, I think it's 20% of 11 to 17-year-olds have admitted to trying it and using it. But when you look at vaping, it comes with fancy packaging, fancy flavours. It's very appealing, but there's a lack of, again, education and awareness as to all the harmful chemicals that are in it. Ultimately, there is still nicotine in it. And something like a vape serves a purpose. So why not medicalise that so it sits in the pharmacy, not in the playground?
I mean, Mike, we wouldn't give methadone out over the counter, would we? I mean, that's something that has to be prescribed because it's to wean you off heroin. Maybe we need to treat vapes the same?
Well, I don't think so. I don't want the state to get any more involved in anybody's life. So we're asking for more red tape, we're asking for more legislation, regulation. I think it's done its job. The whole idea with vapes was to get people off cigarettes, right? This has proved, the figures you've just given your audience, that they are coming off cigarettes.
Mike is raising the next generation of those addicted to e-cigarettes.
You also said, Storm, that vapes are not as harmful as cigarettes, so it's better that people are vaping and not smoking. And also, the problem is, if you start regulating now, we know full well young kids, teenagers, youths will go and find something else, which is probably much more dangerous than vapes. They'll go and find drugs from somewhere to fill that gap. I know that. Leave it as it is, because there's no great solution to this, but this is the best of them.
But the thing is, you're coming from an adult lens, right? There is a huge now epidemic in schools, right? Senior schools, of girls, the uptake of girls using vapes. And this can become addictive and cause other further issues.
But isn't that better than taking up cigarettes? Isn't that better than smoking behind the bike sheds?
The chances are they wouldn't have actually even taken up cigarettes. There are 133 harmful chemicals in a vape. People don't realise that 107 of them are carcinogens, so got cancerous qualities to it. Environmentally, lots of people use disposable vapes now, so it's got this like lithium. So there's tons of lithium being thrown around in our country that doesn't need to happen.
You can't make life completely safe.
Do you know what we want to do? What we want to do is allow it to serve its purpose. So if you add a filter or prescription to it, what it means is it helps those to get off cigarettes. So wonderful, but then it reduces access because retail stores don't do that, and it reduces access for children to get it. I don't think it's what you think it's going to do. I don't think it's going to push those kids to another alternative that's even more harmful. I
think it will. And again, complete state control.
It's become too trendy.
I hate the state getting involved in our lives. Go away, leave us alone.
Do you think that adults are making the right choices?
Should we stop banning cannabis, and should we legalise cannabis?
Cannabis is very, very dangerous. We know that. Cannabis rots your brain. Vapes don't. Cannabis should be banned because it's a terrible drug and it's got stronger over the years.
You are more at risk, third more at risk of having a stroke, 50% more chance of having mouth disease, 24% chance of cardiac risk of vaping.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, anything you ingest into your body is going to give you a problem.
Not anything you ingest.
Well, we've just been talking about processed food.
Exactly.
What are you going to tell me next? Tell me next, don't drink water. Drink water, you might drown.
Filter water.
On that note, let's pause. Don't go anywhere. We're taking your calls on this after the break. Whether vapes should be prescription only, 0207 862 2222 is the number. We'll see you right after this. Let's get straight into your calls then on whether vapes should be prescription only, much like it is in Australia. 0207 862 2222 is the number for your view. David from Derbyshire, what's your thoughts on vapes and should they be prescription only?
Hi there, everybody. Nice to talk to you. My very quick view. I encouraged my wife to stop smoking using a vape as the lesser of the evils, but now it's taken over her life. It's become for adults, as it, and I think that there's an awful lot of things wrong with it. If she puts it down and loses it for a split second, she'll accuse anybody around her as having taken it. She'll drive with it in her hand, which I think is obviously, for obvious reasons, a bit dangerous. Mm-hmm. She uses it on planes, in restaurants and pubs, and hides the fact that she's using it. It's obviously incredibly addictive. It's in every photo, whether it's a wedding, a funeral, or whatever. And I also think, from the point of view of the attractive boxes and that sort of thing, if you go back to the old days of smoking, people like Rothmans and Formula One and so on, it was always attractive. And then they said, oh, no, we're not going to do that. We'll change it so that it becomes unpopular to look at and so on. And they moved away from sponsorships and things. They ought to do exactly the same with this, make it a plain box. It should be something that is not attractive to children and should be managed by prescription only, so that it can be managed through the individual who needs it.
David, thank you very much for your call. And I think they are sort of trying to go down that route of not having so many child-friendly flavours and making it a little bit less attractive. From your experience, and you must have been delighted when your wife decided to try and give up smoking and move to vapes as a transition. Looking back, would you rather she hadn't tried vapes and just done it the old-fashioned way?
Yes, definitely. I would have preferred that she'd done it the old-fashioned way. However, it was a great thing, and I'm still very pleased that she doesn't smoke.
All right.
But that's not to be confused. It's not to be confused that there's clearly been a benefit. But what needs managing is now that addiction to that.
So what David's saying, it's moved from one problem to another, and actually
a lesser problem, perhaps.
And that oversight, because I think actually, if you're trying to reduce smoking, not everyone does it via a GP or that kind of have that medical lens over it. Yeah. And actually, I think David's wife would have really benefited from that.
But I'd also say to David, I'm very sorry to hear about your wife's problems, David, but frankly, do we use the example of one extreme case, to make legislation across the board?
No, but I don't
because I don't know how many people...
David's one of our first callers here. Yeah. We're still learning. Yeah. And I have a feeling it's not a one-off case.
You can get addicted to anything. Some people are addicted to Red Bull. But it's not and it goes excessive.
It's what's in it. And I think he's got Look, he's actually said, I'm so grateful that my wife isn't smoking. Yeah. But what they basically need is medical oversight, where you get prescription for a month, and actually at the end of that month, his wife goes and speaks to the GP, who says, how are you getting on? And she's like, right, I've actually had X amount. And they'll say, right, let's make the target this, and I'm only going to prescribe you this amount.
One extreme case shouldn't dictate a policy.
I don't think it's an extreme case.
Shouldn't dictate a policy.
David, it was an eye-opening conversation anyway. Thank you very much for calling. Susan from Lancashire, do you think they should be prescription-only vapes?
No, I think it's ridiculous. And I agree 100% with what Mike is saying. Children should not be able to get hold of them anyway. As far as adults are concerned, I am sick and tired of being dictated to as an adult about what we can and cannot do.
Okay, now, Susan, with that in mind, can I just butt in at this point, Susan? With that in mind, you don't want to be dictated to by the government. Should we legalise cannabis then and cocaine? Because the government dictates that you can't be taking that.
Well, they brought vaping in to help people to stop smoking.
Exactly. But surely that should be prescribed then?
Sorry?
But surely that should be prescribed then?
No. You can't get a prescription if you're dying these days. Never mind get a prescription for vaping.
There's an argument, actually. It's hard enough to see a GP, never mind get a prescription if you want to get off smoking. But we would never let something like methadone be sold over the counter. So why on earth are we allowing vapes, which is supposed to be used to get people off an addictive substance?
What about
why
tobacco?
are we letting that being sold over the counter?
Should you get a prescription for cigarettes?
Maybe.
In an ideal world, yes.
What's your thoughts, Susan?
Oh, there's a bit of an echo, but no, I'm totally against this prescription business.
Okay.
Every time something comes out, we either have to ban it or we have to make it so difficult. Just leave people, adults, to make their own choices.
Susan, if we did that, I wouldn't have a show, but thank you very much for your call. Jason from Wiltshire, does Susan have a point? Is this just the government overstretching here?
Well, in my perspective, I don't think that, I think when it comes to children vaping, of which has become evident nowadays, it's quite easy just to go and get over the counter. There's a lot of shops not caring who and where they sell it to, especially in the area where I live at the moment.
Okay.
And I think that having a regulation such as a prescription would actually be quite beneficial to the future of our country.
All right, Mike, No,
honestly, the last caller, the lady, over-regulation just means your life is restricted. Why should the government, who do so much wrong to make our country poorer, take control of another area of our life?
Children. As a parent of young children, this is one of my
biggest fears.
Children
will get around it. Children will get around it. We all know that.
We need to make it less attractive for them.
Patrick from Glasgow, your view?
I think prescription might be, but I think a lot of I don't think it would stop people from smoking.
Well, it's been shown to help people stop smoking, but whether it would stop people prescribing...
I don't think it will help people from smoking.
Well, Patrick, I mean, the figures say differently. I think the question is whether actually if we made it prescription only, would that encourage a sort of black market of vapes?
I'm sure it would.
That children may then get hold of, and then it's got stuff in it we don't even know.
And they order them online, and they come from abroad, and all that kind of stuff. You're in danger territory like you are with jabs that you put in your body.
Right now,
totally
we need to
agree.
shift the marketing on it, because the marketing is completely wrong. We need to make it harder to access. It's too easily and readily available. And
it's available in shops. It's available in newsagent shops.
And that's what I'm telling you. It's too available because people are not listening.
But it's not a free country. And you can vape and you can buy it in a commercial shop. It's called a newsagent on the corner of my street.
Adults make your own choices, but
Bell.
Children are getting influenced in a way that I don't. They need added layers of protection. That's what it comes down to.
Alrighty. Well, I don't think we came up with a solution there, but we definitely had an interesting discussion. A huge thank you to my panel, Anju and Mike, for being wonderful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your calls and your messages. Jeremy will be back at 9:15 tomorrow.